Everybody, I decided to put together a quick video explaining what's going on with my 9.2 replays and why they've suddenly stopped. Now, normally what I do is when I've got a backlog of replays, I will finish recording them before I update the game. However, with 9.3 I was so excited to get into Chaffee Racing and try out the new US light tanks that I kind of forgot all about it. And so I ended up updating the game, breaking my replays, and I have something like 20 or 30 9.2 matches left to record, which I cannot record because I can't play them. Some people keep multiple versions of the game so that they only update one or whatever. I don't really have the hard drive space for that, and I also didn't think to do it in the first place. I knew that there was a mod, the replay compatibility pack, which allowed you to actually watch replays from older versions of the game. Unfortunately, and just my luck, it hasn't been updated since August, and so 9.2, as in when 9.2 was released, was the last version the game was compatible with, so you could watch 9.1 replays. That isn't much help when I need to watch 9.2 replays in 9.3. Now, I did actually mention this in a few of my videos, but because of the way that I happen to record them faster than I can upload them and make them public, none of those videos are actually on YouTube yet, and so the first notice you're going to get of what's going on is it's disorganized, put it that way. So I decided instead of waiting for that, I would actually just quickly record something and throw this in now, sooner rather than later, to describe what's going on. So essentially, the next video you will see will be 9.3. The 9.2 replays I haven't been able to record yet are saved. If in the future the replay compatibility pack gets updated, or I find some other way of replaying them, then, or at least some other way that doesn't involve getting somebody to zip up their entire 9.2 client, if they still have it, and send it to me, which I guess is feasible but stupid. If I can find a way to record them, I will, and I'm hoping I do, because there were some really good games in that group, especially some good ones with the Object 430 Variant 2, which isn't a tank many people really play, so I wanted to show some of that. In the meantime, you'll be seeing 9.3 replays. Oh, also, I should mention that included some 9.2 replays from other goons as well, not just from me. So, in the meantime, it'll be 9.3, both my games and from other goons. The game has obviously, at the time of recording, been updated to 9.4. Thankfully, I was able to get all my 9.3 replays recorded, so that's all taken care of. And I've actually started saving some for 9.4, so those will be coming after the 9.3 ones are all up. So likelihood is that at some point when 9.5, 9.6 or whatever is out, maybe then you might see a cluster of 9.2 replays. They'll have 9.2 in the title and or description, so you'll be able to tell where they're from. You're just going to have to bear with me. And then if I get a chance, I might link to some of the older ones out of the video descriptions or whatever. Who knows, I might even make a separate playlist for them just so they're easy to find. We'll work that out when we come to it. Until then, it's, I guess, business as usual, kind of. And I'm trying to catch up on my backlog, though it is quite extensive at this point. Once I get all the 9.3 videos up, it'll probably be a couple of weeks from now, hopefully. I'm going to try and ease up on the 9.4 replays so I can catch up somewhat and not be lagging several months behind like I have been up to this point. Now, that might not be possible. It depends how many good matches I have in 9.4. I've already had a couple. But we'll see how we go. I am just somebody who does this in their spare time on a really, really shitty internet connection, and I have a lot of other shit to do that isn't tanks. So unlike certain other people on YouTube, I can't really afford to sit around making fancy editing and making sure everything gets uploaded perfectly in sequence. I just kind of throw shit at the wall when I get time to do it. Either way, if you're watching this, it probably means you already watched my videos, so you obviously have stuck around despite the complete lack of organisation and professionalism exhibited by my channel. So thank you very much for that. I would also like to use this video to bring up a funny point. Oh yes, and as you can see, I finally got a T20. It only took me how many years to do it, and first impressions are alright. Although it's taking some time to adjust to its playstyle, since it's a hull-down tank with no armor. Hopefully that will prepare me for the STB, since the STB even has more armor than this thing in some regards. Now, what I wanted to point out, you may notice I'm on single row carousel, because the multi-row carousel is now a function of XVM, and my current version of XVM is fucked 9 ways to Sunday. So I need to get around to fixing that. Once I find it here, Wargaming finally got round to adding the Su-76I, which has been in the game files since forever. As you can see, it's not an HD model. It's been in for years, it was just never added to the game. I think it was some super rare boxed copy thing, like the BTSV and the Panzer IIJ and the 85I or something like that. I'm not sure what their deal was. All I know is they've been in the game files for years, but not in the game, and people had been asking when they were going to come out. And so, Wargaming, in all their wisdom, following the release of the Su-85I, which seemed to be pretty successful and fairly balanced, Wargaming then decided they would release the Su-76I. The problem with this being that the Su-76I is a Tier 3 tank destroyer with the gun from the Tier 5 Soviet premium medium tank, the Matilda IV. This is a 76mm gun. This 76mm gun has 110 alpha at Tier 3. It's a Tier 4 gun. It has 86 AP pen and 102 gold pen. Has a pretty decent rate of fire considering how damaging it is for its tier, and its aim time is not bad, although its bloom and accuracy are fucking awful. This is of course a Panzer III chassis, although it doesn't quite have the spectacular mobility of the Panzer III, it still inherits decent top speed and just decent armor in general. This gun shield as well is very useful. That bounces quite a lot of shit you would not expect to bounce. So basically the point I'm driving at is Wargaming put this thing in the game without really thinking. As far as I'm aware, it has Tier 3 pref matchmaking. I have yet to see Tier 5s in it. It's broken as hell. Now, what Wargaming have previously done when tanks have been broken, premium tanks that is, has been to pull them from the store. This is no exception. This thing had barely been in the game for a couple of days. I think it was less than a week. And Wargaming already have pulled it from the store. You now cannot buy one of these. If you didn't get one, you missed out. Sucks for you. You probably won't be able to get one in the near future. It's possible they'll bring it back for special events. It's also possible they'll actually finally start doing what they should have been doing for a long time and nerfing premium tanks. Now, I say this because Wargaming's attitude towards premiums thus far has been, if we touch the pubbies' precious gold tanks, they will flip their shit and cry, which has been exactly what happens. Every time pubbies think their tank has been nerfed, even if it's been buffed, they'll complain about how it's a violation of their rights as a consumer and fucking whatever the shit. A lot of them have never read an end-user license agreement in their lives, and so have missed the part where it says Wargaming have the right to change, alter, or remove content whenever they see fit as the developers. And basically, if you do bother reading the end-user license agreement, you'll be aware this means that you're pretty much spending money on pixel tanks at your own risk. You are trusting Wargaming not to fuck with your shit. Now, I trust Wargaming not to completely fuck with my shit by pulling all my pixel tanks away, but I actually, as a reasonable player, expect Wargaming to balance them accordingly. They haven't done this for a long time. In fact, I think the last time they actually did any serious rebalancing to a premium tank was the buff to the Löwe, which people cried about even though it was a buff, and also the rebalancing to the KV-5. Otherwise, Wargaming tend not to touch premium tanks because this is what happens every time. People who are ignorant of how the whole, buying from a company works, they honestly think that that, you know, their rights as a consumer have been violated. They think that they have any rights in this circumstance, which is laughable. But, you know, my point is people don't understand how the real world works, probably because they're still spending their parents' credit card to buy these tanks, and so they get all indignant and arse hurt when something gets done to them. Wargaming really need to do something about this. This needs a nerf. It needs to lose its preferential matchmaking, which I'm pretty sure it does have. Even if it doesn't, it needs to have something done about its gun, because this is just too much for Tier 3. If you end up in a Tier 3 match in this on Himmelsdorf or Ansk, or really any closed-in map, where, you know, your relatively poor mobility compared to an actual Panzer III is a factor, you're just going to clean up. Like, this thing on Himmelsdorf in a Tier 3 game is fucking murder. Really the only thing that's a threat to it is the other overpowered Tier 3 TDs. Most Tier 3 tanks wouldn't have open hell against this. And actually the frontal armor is a lot better than you would expect. So this needs a nerf. What else? This thing's probably fine. The SU-122-44 might need a bit of a nerf. The Type 62 is mostly fine. The reason it was removed from the store is because it's too similar to the Wheezy-131. Literally, the Wheezy-131 is basically just the same as the 62, except it has a better gun. The Type 59, I would say, is actually balanced, and has been for the longest time. The thing that made the Type 59 so strong back in the day was, A, the wider matchmaking bracket meant it saw tanks that literally could not pen it anywhere, and B, just numbers. You don't see them as often anymore, and so you don't end up with wolf packs of 5 or 6 of the fuckers on every team. They're really not that strong. Honestly, I prefer the T-44 and have done for quite a long time, but then again, it might just be that I've got bored of playing the tank so many times. The FCM Pack 40, holy fuck does that thing need a nerf. It is so blatantly overpowered, it's not even funny. The KV-5 is probably fine, because you have to shoot pure gold to really get not decent results, but if you want to really carry a team, you can get away with firing AP, but the problem is your team will melt around you, and so you need to have the extra pen a lot of the time. The KV-220 needs looking at, purely because clans like CIA that like to stat pad in low tiers will get together a platoon of 3 of these things and just shoot pure gold, and it's over the top. Churchill has been overpowered for the longest time, needs a looking at. Honestly, a lot of premium tanks need to be rebalanced. The BTSV definitely needs to be rebalanced. The LEFH is no longer in the store, so that's not really a huge problem, but it's alright now. It's kind of getting a bit extreme for Arty, but it's alright. But the FCM is hideously overpowered. The Tech Tree Hotchkiss, this is an interesting case, is actually better than the Premium Hotchkiss, which is a surprisingly well-kept secret, considering how overpowered the Premium Hotchkiss used to be. Obviously now things have evened out a bit with more 45mm guns at tier and just better tanks in general. Pubbies have also kind of learned where to shoot them, but the Tech Tree Hotchkiss is actually still very strong when there's an event on that brings out a lot of tier 2 tanks and even tier 3s. The E25, that's the other one I wanted to talk about. The E25 desperately needs looking at. That tank is really, really too good. Way too good. It needs something done about its camo. It needs something done about its mobility. It certainly needs something done about its rate of fire. And this is the problem. There are so many premium tanks in the game that need to be looked at, and Wargaming won't do it because they're scared of backlash from the community. Instead, if the tank is a bit overpowered, or if it's not really something that swings the higher tier games, they'll leave it. If it's a higher tier tank, say 5 and up, or if it's completely earth-shatteringly broken like the 76i is, they just remove it from the store. They don't balance it, they just remove it, so the people that already have it can go on bullshitting their way through the game with it, as I have been doing in this little guy for the past few days. And it doesn't really fix the problem. All it does is just kind of put a dampener on it by reducing the number of them you're going to see. Now, I think as well as the reluctance to deal with community backlash, a big part of the reason Wargaming act this way is because of the Type 59 situation. Now, when the Type 59 first came out, it was not overpowered even then. It was just strong, and the reason it was such a strong tank is because back then power creep wasn't as evident, and so its hull armor actually meant something. Plus, its gun was, you know, passable. It was actually better than the T-44's gun at that point in time. It was just a good all-round tank, and so people kind of rushed the Type 59, and you would see hundreds of them. Over the course of a day, you'd be lucky to see a team without at least one Type 59 on it. Just the proliferation of it was insane. And I think that was what actually finally caused Wargaming to pull it from the store. And I think that may have been why they've been doing this, removing shit from the store since, but then they don't put it back. So, I mean, if you remove it from the store and nerf it, you won't have a problem, but if you remove it from the store and just leave it as it is, it's stupid. It doesn't make any sense, and they're cheating themselves out of money by not letting people buy these. So if I was them, I'd take it out of the store just to sort of curb the immediate problem of people rushing them, do some nerfing, reintroduce it, problem solved. But it's something they haven't done. The Type 59 really should have been added back to the store a long time ago. It's not overpowered, it's not even that good anymore. It's passable at best, and you really don't see that many. Honestly, they are quite rare. I've been seeing more T-44s than I have Type 59s for at least a year now. Anyway, having segued into tank balance, which I wasn't actually going to originally cover, but decided to anyway, I think I'll wrap this up here. So now you guys have some idea what's going on. Hopefully it won't be a big shock when all of a sudden 9.3 videos start popping out and then somewhere later down the track 9.2 comes back to haunt us. Thanks for watching, best of luck in the field, and as ever I will catch you next time.